Hey, good morning, small business owners. Welcome to Monday Morning Metric. My name is Rebecca Berneck. I am the founder, CEO, and big head of Office Heads, a financial management company located in Evanston, Illinois. Every Monday at 3:30 Central, I jump on Facebook Live and I talk about something financial, something business, something operational, something QuickBooks, tools, team, just something about your business that looking at it through the lens of numbers. So here we are today. Welcome to Monday Morning Metric. And today what we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about a vendor review. A vendor review is important for a number of different reasons. So this is, you're operating your business and you're just zipping around and probably not paying really close attention, especially if you've got staff and people are incurring expenses on the company's behalf. It is really, really, really a good idea from time to time to take a look at your vendors and the expenses that are through your vendors. So, here we just experienced the first day of I don't know, something just happened in a glitch. So hopefully we're all still there. Hi, we're talking about a vendor review. So here we are, we just experienced the first day of fall, and it's a good time to just mark your calendar that every year at this time, you're gonna do a vendor review. So before we go into just doing a vendor review, I just wanna mention that QuickBooks is an awesome application for bookkeeping and accounting. One of the greatest pieces of it is you sync it with your bank account and your credit cards, and all of those transactions get sucked into your QuickBooks Online file, right? And then you have all of these expenses and deposits into your accounts that you need to match into into your chart of accounts. Well, QuickBooks that does take a little bit of finesse in this area when you're doing your matching, because it doesn't necessarily add the payee. It might have a description that might say, Bob's Burgers, but it might not have the payee in there. And this is a very important thing to note, because you need to teach your QuickBooks for a while, especially when you have new vendors, to enter a new payee, because we're going to go into the opposite side of your QuickBooks file where your vendor list is located. If you don't add a payee to your expenses, then we can't find that expense by vendor name or payee. So that's a number one best practice, is as you're looking at when you're doing your matching and your classification every so often, you should always make sure that you have a payee on the transactional level. Great, perfect. Now we're going to go to the review. And the review is kind of a two-step review. Number one, you're going to go take a look at all of your vendors and clean it up a little bit. We're going to see if there's any duplicates, and if there's any vendors in there that you just haven't used for a while, and you can make them inactive. When you have a nice, clean vendor list, it just makes bookkeeping in the future a lot easier when you have a smaller list rather than having a messy list. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to go into your QuickBooks file, go down to expenses, and there you're going to find your vendor list. And there it is, alphabetical. I was just kind of peeking at it before I jumped on live today to take a look at my vendor list, because I'm doing this too. And it was interesting because I purchased something from vendor direct, and then I did it through QuickBooks, then I did it through PayPal, and it created a separate vendor name, which was their email address. So the first thing that I want to do in these types of instances, like let's say you go to 3 different gas stations and they're all named something different, you might want to consolidate them. So I'm going to teach you how to merge your vendors right now. So if you have a couple of vendors that are really the same vendor, but they're misnamed, etc., you're going to want to go into the vendor information window by double clicking. You want to go to edit. You just want to copy the name of that vendor, because what you're going to do is you're going to rename the other ones the same exact name. I mean, to a T, the exact name. And when you do that and you save it, QuickBooks is going to say, hey, that vendor already exists. Do you want to merge them? And you're going to want to say yes. It takes all of the transactions for both of them and makes them into one. And that's a good way of consolidating vendors. So that's that first step of looking at your entire vendor list. And let's take a look at those duplicates and merge them so your list is clean. The next step is you want to go in and take a look at some of those vendors and say, hey, I haven't used this in a year or two, or it's just sitting there. You're going to want to make it inactive. So all the way over to the right side of your screen, there's going to be a pull down, and you're going to want to, it says right there, make inactive. It doesn't delete anything. It just doesn't show it on your list. Later on, if you use that vendor again, it's going to say, hey, this vendor is inactive. If you want to use it, you need to make it inactive, and then you go ahead and do that. So again, then you've got this, first of all, you've got a long list, right, that you've been just adding to every time that you do your incur an expense and do your bookkeeping. Then you're going to make that a lot more consolidated and shorter, because any duplicates you're going to merge. Then you're going to make the ones that you don't use, we're going to hide them and make them inactive so you don't see them. So that's cleaning up your vendor list. Now, there's another really important piece of information as you're doing this cleaning up, is take a look at the transactions on your vendors, because now is the time, at least once a year, to review your vendors. And I am going to actually, let's talk about software as a service, because I'll tell you, it's crazy. It seems like software as a service, I'm purchasing a new one and a new one and a new one every single month. But I want to make sure that one that I may have purchased back in February because I had a special project is not on an automatic recurring, and I'm not using any anymore. So this is the point where you're actually going to review your expenses and say, hey, if I'm not using this anymore, I don't want money going out the window. I'd rather have it in my own pocket. So as you're looking and you're reviewing your vendors, take a look at what you're spending. And if it is something that you no longer need, or it's not efficient, or it's something that you just don't need right now, give them a call, cancel your subscription, call your vendors and review, negotiate new prices. This is a really great time to try to tweak up your expenses so you have more money in your pocket in the area of profit. So there you go. That is how to keep your vendor list clean. Now, you can do this more often than once a year, but at least if you do it once a year, you're in good hands, because you're paying attention to your expenses and you're cleaning up your data. If you want to do it every 6 months, every quarter, make a note on your calendar and just jump in. It doesn't take that long. It really doesn't. It might take 15 minutes, 30 minutes. If you do it at a regular basis, it'll take less than that. But you'll be happy that you do. There's oftentimes that I'll find vendors in there and like subscriptions that I just don't need anymore. That saves me some money. So thank you for joining me on Monday Morning Metric on this fine fall day. Enjoy and have a good time cleaning up your vendor list. Make comments below if you have any questions, or if there's any topics that you want me to cover on future Monday Morning Metrics. So thanks for joining me, and have a great and profitable week.